Today is not just another day on the calendar. Today is a command to rise. It is a declaration that you are awake, aware, and aligned with purpose. This morning is not asking for your permission. It is demanding your participation. You did not wake up by accident. You woke up because something in the world still requires your voice, your strength, your discipline, and your courage. This day is waiting on you to show up fully. Before the noise rushes in, before opinions pull at your focus, before doubts try to negotiate your confidence, this moment belongs to clarity. This is the space where intention is formed, where direction is chosen, where you decide who you will be before the world tries to tell you who to become. Stillness is not weakness, it is strategy. Calm is not passive, it is power under control. Intentional mornings are the foundation upon which commanding days are built. The first moments after waking shape the rhythm of the hours that follow, setting the tone for focus, confidence, and clarity. When the day begins with awareness instead of reaction, the mind gains direction before the world begins making demands. This early alignment creates a sense of control that carries forward, allowing each action to feel deliberate rather than rushed or scattered. An intentional morning creates space for thought before noise. It allows the mind to settle into purpose rather than urgency. Instead of being pulled immediately into messages, obligations, or distractions, the individual chooses where attention will be placed. This choice strengthens mental discipline and establishes leadership over time, energy, and emotional responses. When mornings are approached with intention, clarity replaces confusion. Goals become sharper, priorities become easier to identify, and unnecessary stress loses its grip. The mind is no longer negotiating with doubt, but directing movement with certainty. This clarity transforms the way challenges are faced, turning obstacles into tasks rather than threats. Intentional mornings also train the body to move with alignment. Posture changes, breathing steadies, and energy flows with greater balance. This physical awareness supports mental strength, reinforcing confidence in both presence and performance. The body follows the instructions of a focused mind, responding with readiness rather than fatigue. Consistency in intentional mornings builds authority over time. Repeated alignment strengthens self-trust, proving that discipline can be relied upon. Each morning becomes a personal agreement to show up prepared, centered, and aware. This reliability creates inner stability that does not depend on external circumstances. A commanding day is not created by force, but by direction. Intentional mornings provide that direction by defining what matters before the day begins to define it for you. They remove hesitation by replacing it with purpose, allowing decisions to be made with confidence instead of second guessing. When intention guides the morning, emotional regulation improves throughout the day. Reactions become responses and pressure becomes manageable. This emotional steadiness allows for clearer communication, stronger boundaries, and more effective leadership in every environment encountered. Intentional mornings sharpen focus by narrowing attention to what truly deserves energy. Distractions lose power when priorities are already set. Time is no longer wasted recovering from chaos, but invested in meaningful progress. This focus compounds, making each hour more productive than the last. A morning shaped by intention reinforces identity. It reminds the individual who they are before the world assigns roles, expectations, or labels. This self-awareness strengthens confidence and reduces susceptibility to doubt, comparison, or external pressure. As intentional mornings become a habit, commanding days become the natural result. Momentum builds quietly but powerfully, shaping outcomes through clarity, discipline, and deliberate action rather than chance or reaction. Inner readiness begins with the recognition that preparation is not always visible but always present. Long before action takes place, strength is formed internally through experience, reflection, and resilience. When this internal foundation is solid, the need for approval fades because confidence no longer depends on external confirmation. Readiness becomes a state of being rather than a condition that must be granted. When someone is internally ready, hesitation loses its influence. Doubt may appear, but it no longer controls direction. Decisions are made from clarity instead of fear, and movement happens without waiting for validation. This readiness creates momentum because action is driven by conviction rather than reassurance. Inner readiness is shaped through pressure, not comfort. Challenges refine awareness, setbacks sharpen judgment, and endurance builds trust in one's own capability. Each experience becomes evidence that strength exists even when outcomes were uncertain. Over time, this evidence replaces the desire for permission with the confidence to proceed. Those who are ready within do not ask if they are allowed to move forward. They recognize when it is necessary. Their focus shifts from seeking acceptance to fulfilling responsibility. This mindset changes how opportunities are approached, turning them into moments of execution rather than moments of hesitation. Readiness eliminates the need to explain oneself. Actions speak with authority because they are rooted in certainty. There is no urgency to justify decisions when alignment is clear. This quiet confidence commands respect and reduces resistance from others. Internal readiness also reshapes identity. It separates self-worth from external reactions and anchors it in self-awareness. When identity is stable, opinions lose their power to delay progress. Direction is chosen based on purpose, not permission. As readiness grows, so does decisiveness. Choices are made efficiently because the mind trusts its own judgment. Overthinking gives way to clarity, and confidence replaces second guessing. This decisiveness creates consistency, and consistency strengthens results. Those who are ready within understand timing differently. They no longer wait for perfect conditions, recognizing that readiness itself is the signal to move. Progress becomes proactive rather than reactive, guided by insight rather than circumstance. Inner readiness transforms fear into information rather than a barrier. Fear is acknowledged but not obeyed. It becomes a signal to focus rather than retreat, allowing growth to occur without delay. When inner readiness is fully developed, permission becomes irrelevant because movement is no longer optional but inevitable. Decisive action is the turning point between intention and transformation. Ideas remain powerless until they are acted upon, and clarity remains theoretical until movement begins. When a decision is made with commitment, energy shifts from contemplation to execution, allowing progress to replace stagnation. Momentum is born the moment hesitation is removed. Momentum does not require perfection, only direction. Decisive action provides that direction by creating forward motio. And even when conditions are uncertain, waiting for ideal timing often disguises fear as caution, while action exposes possibility. Each step taken reinforces confidence, making the next step easier and more natural. When decisions are delayed, energy dissipates. Mental fatigue increases as options are weighed repeatedly without resolution. Decisive action interrupts this cycle, freeing the mind from endless evaluation. Once a choice is made, focus sharpens and resources align toward a single outcome. Action creates feedback, and feedback fuels momentum. Results reveal what works and what needs adjustment, providing clarity that thought alone cannot deliver. Movement turns uncertainty into information, allowing refinement rather than retreat. Progress becomes adaptive instead of stagnant. Decisive action strengthens self-trust. Every completed step becomes evidence of capability, reinforcing the belief that execution is possible. This trust reduces fear of future decisions and builds a rhythm of consistent movement. Momentum grows as confidence compounds. Momentum thrives on commitment. Half decisions produce half results, while clear decisions generate force. When action is taken without constant reconsideration, effort becomes efficient. Energy is no longer wasted on doubt, but invested in forward progress. Decisiveness also reshapes identity. The individual begins to see themselves as someone who acts rather than waits. This shift influences behavior across all areas, creating consistency between intention and outcome. Momentum becomes a natural extension of self-perception. Challenges are approached differently when momentum is active. Obstacles are met with adjustment rather than avoidance. Decisive action keeps movement alive even in resistance, preventing setbacks from becoming stopping points. Progress continues through adaptation. Small decisive actions. A. Accumulate into significant change. Each action, no matter how minor, adds weight to momentum. Over time, these actions compound, creating speed and stability that hesitation could never produce. When decisive action becomes habitual, momentum becomes self-sustaining, driven by clarity, confidence, and continuous movement.